Okay. I figured, what the hell, right? So I bought this contraption here. I bought this contraption to install these threaded inserts. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna save, I don't know. So, to install these threaded inserts. Well, of course, me being me and not thinking far enough ahead, actually, I take that back, I did think far enough ahead. But I changed the design and I didn't change the whole design because I hadn't taken into consideration this next screw up, right? I need to install these threaded inserts into this box using, I'm going to use this soldering iron to heat these boogers up and stick them in the hole. Well, when I originally did it, I actually spec'd the holes out to the proper size. So if you look here, there's holes. What I did, and I didn't think about it at the time, and actually Fusion has the ability to change everything at once, and I didn't think about it when I was doing it because I'm a dimwit. And when I lowered, these bosses were originally flush with the surface here, and I extruded them down and didn't take into consideration that I didn't take into consideration the holes that I had already spec'd in there. So I have to re-drill the holes. Well, I mic'd these out, and these are 0.20 at this right here. Okay. Now that comes to a number 7, which you use for tapping 1/4 inch holes. So I'm going to set this up in the drill press, and we're going to see how this works. I have limited. Thank God I have 2 of these, because chances of me screwing this up are pretty good. So I'm going to shut the camera off. You don't need to see me drill holes and get frustrated, even though that part. So here's another caveat to all of this shit, right? I have to bring this up. Why are my videos so long? My videos are so long because I grew up in an era of this old house and cooking shows and all that stuff on PBS, where, you know, they rebuild an entire car in 30 minutes, or they cook a gourmet meal in 23 minutes. And the truth of the matter is, it takes way longer than that to do that type of stuff. And this is the type of frustration that they don't show. You know, the magic of video editing. Well, people have a short attention span. I know that. But the truth of the matter is, I think it sets a false expectation for projects. And that goes across the board. You know, my entire career revolved around a time clock, and it had to be done in a certain amount of time or you didn't get paid. There's a joke in the body shop, and there's a joke in the mechanic industry. It's you're one broken bolt away from a terrible. A 5-minute job is one broken bolt away from a 3-day ordeal, and that's a real thing. You know, why do I have all these tools? Because every single project is one broken bolt away from a 3-day ordeal. So I'm going to set this up in the drill press, and I'm going to drill these holes out, and then we're going to set the heat press up and see how quickly I can screw this up. All right. So I bought this tool here, which is kind of, I don't know. I bought this tool here, and it's meant to be used the other way, but we're going to use it this way. Nothing like having shit all over your fucking bench. So this is basically, it's just a soldering iron with a little press on it. I'm actually going to use it backwards for filming purposes here, right? So you get these heat inserts. You've seen them. Well, you can buy them. I bought these off of our favorite friend Jeff Bezos at Amazon. You know, God bless the Chinese, right? Pennies on the dollar. And you have to use the correct insert to heat them up, right? So this is not the correct one. So I have this little container here full of the insert things. A pair of tweezers, because they get really hot. Shocking, right? They get hot enough that I don't like it. So I think it's this one. So that Oh, wrong again. Wah, wah. So we know it's not that one either. Well, the other thing here is I have two different types of inserts because I bought two different kits, right? I just didn't get around to fixing it yet. Or, yeah. Alright, so that one goes in here. I bought two different kits. One kit came with the soldering iron, and then the other kit came with, I don't know, one of the insert things. So one's a positive and one's a negative, or one's a male and one's a female inserter thing. So the way I have it set up now, I have to use these, and I just put them all in the same container because why not, right? Even you can just swap that thing out and then it'll work. Okay, so we have our heads. Now the soldering iron heats up really fast. This soldering iron is really cool because it has a temperature gauge on it. I don't know how accurate it is, but I do know that this wants to be, yeah, about 270 degrees Fahrenheit is about what this material will melt at, I think. I forget. Oh, it's C. Okay, 270 C is what it melts at because metric system. So we gotta wait for it to heat up. And it actually gets really hot really fast. Yep, it's hot. All right, now. So we'll do this one here so maybe you'll actually be able to see it. So these are the inserts. I have zero faith in these inserts working properly, by the way. I really need, I can't stress that enough that I don't think this is gonna work. My failure to properly size the holes is absolutely going to come back and bite me in the ass. I know this. So I'm taking my time with these and just slowly pressing them in. Oop, there it goes. Because once they start to go, they go pretty quick. All right, 270 is too hot. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Nah, you know what? I'm going to leave it that way. These have like a little collar on them. So I've just been putting them in collar down to fit into the hole. I think you're going to lose here on your view. I should start wearing a hat mount. Once they get hot, like I said, they go in pretty easy. As a matter of fact, the first time I did it, I just pushed them right through. Because I tried to do it by hand, and by hand does not work. Like I said, I hope these stay. I like them. I think it's a fantastic idea, and you see them all over the place. The other thing I could have done was I could have modeled threads and used self-tappers, which I didn't really want to do. I don't have a whole lot of faith in plastic in general, and I sure as shit don't have a whole lot of faith in plastic that I've created in my own house. All right, and then that one. Yeah, these are not. Oh. You kind of have to be careful because they get hot really fast. It's better off to set them in place when they're a little cold and then let the heat push them in. These do have threads in them, like knurling. All right, there we go. So now these all have little heated thread inserts in there. We're going to turn the soldering iron off if I burn the shit out of myself. All right, there we go. Now, the other thing I have to do is, I printed these for clearance, and there ain't no clearance, so I have to run a drill bit through these. Now, the nice thing is I actually have a numbered set of drill bits. And if you're not familiar with numbered drill bits, I highly suggest splurging and buying the big kit from Harbor Freight. Even if you only have to use that weird one once, you're only drilling through plastic. A really good set of numbered drill bits is several $100s. I spent like maybe $100 on mine. All right, so we'll get this out of the way here. Okay, look. So watching me fail on film is part of the whole fun of watching my videos, right? So watching me smoke cigarettes and fail is the whole point of my videos. Sadly, you missed me burning myself on the soldering iron, which I thought I turned off, and I didn't actually turn off. So when I reprinted, so here's the inserts in the box. When I reprinted the lid here, because this was the first lid that I printed, the holes weren't clearanced enough. Clearance. So when I reprinted the lid, I printed the holes a little bit bigger, and we now have clearance. Barely, but we have clearance. So I'm going to test fit the lid. All right, and let's see if we can pull those out. They've been cooling for a couple minutes. They should be cool enough. If I was really thinking, I might consider putting a drop of either red Loctite or CA glue just on the edge of here, like thin-ish CA glue. But I'm not going to do that, because why would I do that? This is the kit that I bought off of our Chinese communist friends. I actually bought 2 of these. I bought one with these regular metric cap head bolts, and then I bought one with button heads. And then, ironically enough, it's not ironic, because they always do this shit. It's 1,068 60 pieces, and basically they count the washers and the nuts. I'll never use all those washers or all those nuts, and I can't wait to figure out. I want to build a project that takes these little fuckers, just because. I don't know what I'm going to do with those. I have a feeling that I'm going to end up refilling this from McMaster Car. All right, now. I had a cigarette lighter here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Nicotine. The only thing that... Oh, it is 4K. All right. So, I'm going to just see if these thread in. I didn't test these yet, because I like to show my utter failure right on camera. Notice I'm doing it by hand, because power tools will get you in trouble if you let them. I'm flabbergasted. We're not done screwing up yet. So the countersink holes are a little small. I thought I included those in the oversizing. I did, but apparently 2/10 isn't as much as I think it is, or 2 thou isn't as much as I think it is. Oh, look, there's the burn. Holy shit, it worked. All right, I'm not going to force those all the way in yet. Oh, fucking ashtray. Okay, so I'm not going to force those all in all the way yet because once this gets assembled, it's going to be done. The assembly process will be finished, and then that'll be the end of it. And hopefully, unless something catastrophic goes wrong, I shouldn't ever have to disassemble this again. If I do, if I decide to put a larger, if I decide to put more lights up, because I bought the smaller of the transformers. I bought the 60-watt transformer because I'm only putting up 4 or 5 LED lights in a relatively short run. I know, headroom, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nice. Now, this piece. I'm just going to take this thing over to the grinder, and I'm going to whack off that. I'm going to whack off this chunk here. I think that'll work. Yeah, this piece here needs to get cut back. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but you can see I forgot to take into consideration this 1/8-inch gap here. Which, when I was modeling, by the way, screwed up the entire thing. I had to, yeah, it screwed up the lid. Right. Because I love to show my fuck-ups. This hole is give or take, actually we're going to sneak it all the way out here, is 1.1. That's what I spec the hole at, right? Because if you measure the plug comes in at 99. Actually, all the way here, out here at the edge, it comes out at 100. But when you rotate the plug, it comes up at 106, and then you really rotate the plug, it comes in at 108. And yeah, that's too big for the fucking hole. Geometry kids, don't sneak off to smoke weed in the bathroom when they're teaching geometry. Literally, I'm trying to shove a square hole or a square peg into a round hole. Oops. I got a grinder, says that'll fit. And just like that, a little whack on the sander, and away went those pesky angles. You have to excuse the background noise. My neighbors are having a pool put in, and the landscapers are running a dingo. A dingo ate my baby! I've been waiting all afternoon to say that. All right, so there we go. That fits in there the way it's supposed to. This is going to fight with me because it can. All right. I'm actually not going to assemble this all the way. I just wanted to show that this actually does work. I whacked that on the grinder. Yeah, I know, nice and crooked, right? Nah, whatever. Oh, and remember, kids, wear your safety glasses when grinding plastic, because they can't use a magnet to take that piece of shit out of your eye when it gets flung in there at 1,000 miles an hour. Ask me how I know. All right, so this came out perfectly, actually. That's exactly the way that was intended to work. Shocking, right? All right, I'm going to assemble the rest of this off camera, and hopefully the whole thing will work. We'll see. Okay, by some bizarre miracle of the horde here, I was actually able to come up with Stay-Cons that actually fit in here. This is like a miracle, right? You know, it's a Christmas miracle. All right, so what's this red wire for? All right, well, this red wire here is going to be, so this transformer has outlets, right? So this one's 12 volt, this one's 15 volt, and this is a common. So this is all low voltage DC crap, right? Well, one of the huge things with DC voltage and why Edison was never able to sell it is because even though he electrocuted Jumbo the Elephant with fucking AC, DC suffers from line drop. It loses oomph as it goes down the line. So I don't have a really long run with this particular job, but I may in the future decide I want to add to this. As it stands right now, I'm well within specs for what this transformer is for, using 12 volts. The other thing you'll notice is I'm using these cheap Chinese Stacons that crush and make a mess out of themselves. It doesn't matter. If I really wanted to get anal about it, I would go to West Marine and buy the good melt-in Stacons. I don't have any of those left. I am going to use those later in the project. I do have some, but they're not spade connectors. So we're going to use these Chinese ones, and we're going to hide them underneath of here, and they will forever be not seen. And then the other hilarious part of this is because I didn't have to cut this out. Oh well. This doesn't really matter. I have a multimeter that'll tell me what's what later. I didn't originally plan on building this box, so that's why I had to cut this out. Every project I do has 10 or 15 different iterations of shenanigans involved with it. That wire being twisted like that really bugs the shit out of me. It's too fucking long. Oh well, it's going in the box. It's in the box! Alright, so that goes there like that. I really like using Stacons as opposed to just crushing the wires in. And like I said, this is merely a jumper into here. This is going to get a wire nut on the end of it and some black tape, and that'll be the end of that 15 volt, and you'll never see it again, ever. So that goes like that. This is going to get slid in here like this. This wire is obscenely too long, but it doesn't matter, because that's what wire cutters are for. And hopefully I have enough wire. The other downfall is this wire is actually solid. That's all I had in a suitable gauge for this project, so that is the way that is going to go. And that fits there. Those holes actually all line up, which quite frankly is a little shocking. Alright, now this is going to get mounted on here, like that. Okay. Why am I not seeing holes? Oh, there's holes. Okay. I was like, why don't I see green? Alright, so that's just going to go just like that. Alright, I'm going to fight with this off camera again to get these all lined up, and then this is going to have to get trimmed a little bit more. Just a little. It's going to have to get trimmed. I have to trim that just a wee bit more. I may actually forego this piece. We'll see. I can just grind some more of this off the back side of here. It's not an issue. That's what I have grinders for. And then I'm going to bolt these two together. It's not the easiest place to put a bolt, but it is what it is, and it is what it's going to be. And like I said, this is going to get tapped off or cut off, or this is going to get blocked off, so it's not in use anymore. Alright, after 15 minutes looking for this fucking bolt, which was laying on the floor, glad I cleaned the floor up, right? Still haven't given the shop tour. Let's put this thing together. I ran into a couple problems already, and we're going to address those in a minute, because, you know, why would I not run into problems? So these go in here like this. I lost that fucking bolt again. Oh, there it is. Use your finding eyes, Mr. Mike. Okay. So that goes in there like that. That goes here like this. Okay. Now, I had to cut these. I already ran a tap over these. I have to stick a screwdriver in here to get this to come up to the right height, because, you know, everything I do is a pain in the ass, because it's me, it's my fault. I do this to myself. Acme wants me to pick up my prescription. I literally just ran this bolt onto this thing. Or this nut. Make a liar out of me, you piece of shit. I really need to get a new fucking camera. It's coming, kids, I promise. Yeah, so I had run a tap on this, and then I hit it on the wire wheel because it had a little burr on it. I had to cut these bolts. Oh, and it's just not going to fucking cooperate. Alright, you know, we're going to fight with it. Why would we not fight with it? I should grind a little flat in the side of that. Let's see if this one will start. That's what I get for hitting it on the wire wheel. Alright, that one will go. Alright, so that goes there, that goes there. That goes there. Jam a screwdriver in here to get this up so it's high enough. Well, the irony is I cut these bolts because these are the original spacers that I made. And they're too short, right? Trust me, they're too short with the other bolts on them. So I cut the bolts to make up for these spacers. I go to put the thing on the wall, and it's still, the rock is out of place, so I ended up having to make these spacers, which are longer. You're going to see those in play in a minute. All right, so like that. I gotta remember I'm filming. Oh, come on, you rotten little motherfucking bastard. Ah, fucker. Just do it right the first fucking time. You son of a bitch. Alright, I'm gonna fix this. I ground a little flat on this so I can jam a screwdriver in there. This isn't a nuclear reactor, man. It's a light transformer that they literally tell you to hang off of two shitty little screws that only go into the fucking wood this far. Over-engineered. It's the way of Fez Custom. If you didn't over-engineer it and make it impossible to work on, you're not doing it right. Why are my videos so long? Well, this is why. Because that's all the shit they never show you. Alright, so let's make sure that... Well, I don't like that at all. Something's not right here. Could be the draft on the part, or... I don't know. Could be the bolts are crooked. They're in there pretty good. And the other thing I'm going to do here, when this is all done, I'm going to put a drop of red Loctite on there I don't want to hear shit about red Loctite. You know, not for nothing. I've never had a problem getting that stuff apart. At one time, I used red Loctite on the front sight of my Glock, and a little bit of it got onto the barrel. Guess what? Ripped off the first shot, snapped that thing loose, no problem. All right, so now the next thing I have to do is run these in. Now, these are not the screws I originally spec'd for this. Why would they be? Because the screws I originally spec'd were these, and notice how these are way shorter than these. Well, that's a problem. All right, now, again, I'm gonna run these in by hand because I'm threading into plastic, straight up threading into plastic. We're gonna fix that, but that's kind of what I'm doing. Hopefully they'll clear this cord on the other side when I go to put the nuts on. I have to put nuts on them. It's coming together. Dingo ate my baby. Those poor bastards are over there pouring about 5 yards of concrete, if not more, with a ready mix truck and a power wheelbarrow. They're nuts. But, you know, they are what they are. It is what it is. And those are way, way, way too long. Like, ludicrously way too long. Alright. So, I need to cut these bolts. These bolts are going to have to get cut. Probably. I'm going to take at least a ½ an inch off of them. And you know what? I might not do anything. Fuck that. I'm tired of over-engineering this shit. $100 says that some asshole walks by here, taps this thing, and rips it the fuck off. That asshole will probably be me, but if I don't put a nut on the back side of these. But I am really, really, really tired of non-stop over-engineering of shit. And the other thing I forgot to do is put that plug on that fucking fitting. Because these bolts won't fit, these nuts won't fit in between there and there. Again, I hadn't spec'd it out for this when I did it, you know, because I never do that kind of shit. I gotta put, there's a cap that goes on this, which I forgot to put on. I gotta put that on. And then we're gonna hang this thing. I actually like the way this is coming out. Believe it or not. For all the bitching that I'm doing, I'm not overly disappointed with it. Back in a minute. Okay, so after consultation with management here at Stonecroft Manor Hotel, Casino, and Resort, we have come to the conclusion that we are going to only cap this off. So this was the cap off that I needed to do. Because the light sentinel, the photoelectric eye that is supposed to screw into here, sticks down way too far, and I'd have to drill a hole in the box here. So I'm not doing that because I'm fucking lazy. All right, so let's go back to, oh, that's the whole point. Turn the video back on. Pro tip, if you're gonna cut a bolt, put the nut on it first. Oh, here we go. Yeah, put the nut on first. And then when you pull it, when you back it off, you can just, son of a bitch. Use the nut to cut the threads back where you ground them off, right? You can see I fouled the threads there. So we're going to back it off. It gets to the spot where I mung the threads up. You can do this with a tap too. If it was a bigger bolt, I'd probably use a tap. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's what I think about that. All right. Now, Oh my God, that smells terrible. All right, now. So that's going to go in there and get threaded into that. That is going in there. Getting threaded in that. That one's a little shorter, of course. Why would I have measured any of that stuff? That one might not get a nut anyway. I canned the flange nuts. I decided that I'm not gonna use the flange nuts. Oh, those holes stripped out nicely. Now let's see if we can get a nut on these. Oh, that's gonna be a trick and a half. That one might not get a nut. Let's see if the gods are with us today. Ew, all that cheese on my magnet. Okay. I think I'm going to slide this off the bench here. Oh, that didn't start. All right, I'm gonna shut the camera off. To get these in here, you're not gonna be able to see me do it on camera anyway. Okay, I came up with not the greatest way to fix this problem, but it was a solution. So one of the core tenets of my existence is it's either fixed or not fixed, or it's either done or not done, right? So sometimes you got to think outside of the box. I can't fit a nut in here, and I'm not reprinting this box again, especially after I did all the rest of the work to it. So to think my way out of this, which is the other thing of me, is you got to think your way out of problems. So I have these thread setters, and they actually have they've got threads in them. All right, so they're for putting threads in sheet metal. They're basically the same as these heat set things, except you put them into sheet metal, right? So they have a little wedge, they have a little cone on the bottom of them, and they have threads that come to about here. And guess what? They work just fine. And again, a drop of glue inside of there, be it whatever. This is never supposed to come apart. That's another thing that I have to stress with these types of projects, is this is never supposed to come apart. So, a pair of needle nose pliers here. Again, this isn't a nuclear reactor. This isn't an aircraft. This isn't, this isn't something that's supposed to go 300 miles an hour. But then again, if you've ever worked on race cars, you'd know those things are pretty sketchy to begin with. This isn't an F1 car. This is a little box that's never supposed to do anything. Of course, now that doesn't want to go in there. Other than hold some wires, some low voltage wires at that. Yeah, to hold some low voltage wires so I don't have to take this box back apart. Of course, this thing is fucking with me now. Oh, come on. The other one went together relatively easily. This damn plug is in the way. Yeah, I could have put thread certs in the box, but the other problem is I don't have standard thread certs, and my metric bolts aren't long enough. So it's just one silly bullshit thing after another here with this. You know, if you're going to complicate it, you might as well overcomplicate it, right, kids? No, that doesn't want to start straight. work just fine. Oh, that's what's going on. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Let's see here. Let's be still. I just took this off the grinder, so it's nice and hot. Actually, it didn't burn me yet. But so there's not enough space in between this plug and the nut or the bolt because the thingy was too tall. So let's try this again. So I just whacked it on the grinder to shorten it up by about 1/4 of an inch, and maybe a little bit more than 1/8. So it's got a nice little burr on there to hold on to. Hey, look at that. I might be able to get that to work. This is kind of a little redundant. I could, you rat bastard, the little burr fell off. This is a little redundant. It probably wouldn't ever go anywhere just being threaded into the plastic, but again, if you're going to complicate it, you might as well overcomplicate it, right? Mr. Mike, why are you such a grumpy fuck? Oh, there you go, kids. Why are you so miserable? Because the simplest tasks turn into complete pains in the asses if given the opportunity. I created this problem. I know I did. Aha, there we go. Sorry, I gotta pull it off camera a little bit. There we go. Because my Allen wrench, I could probably use that in there. Get this whole fiasco on camera, right? That's what this is all about. Laughing at my stupidity and misery. Ah, good, done. I said a little drop of black CA glue in those holes, and that bolt's never coming out of there. All right. Ah, Jesus fucking Christ.